All right, good day, everybody. Welcome all. My name is Scott Moore. I'm a Senior Technical Account Manager for HPE at Ingram Micro. And on this call with me is Jasmine Norville, who's our Solution Design and Services Server Champ for HPE at Ingram Micro. Thanks for joining us today. Purpose of this webinar is to give a basic overview of HPE's Synergy Composable Infrastructure and its positioning both within HPE's portfolio as well as to customers. So here's today's agenda. To start off, I want to talk briefly about server form factor and general positioning, which will lead into a discussion of the individual components that make up a Synergy Composable Infrastructure solution. Then I'll go over a few concepts and innovations that are specific to Synergy. I'll do a quick review of HPE's BTO and CTO process, and then we'll finish up with a short review of Ingram Micro's pre-sales configuration resources. So to review the different server chassis types and as to why we have blade servers like Synergy, servers generally come in three different form factors. Towers are taller than they are wide. They look like desktops, have plenty of bays for storage, and they're easy for small businesses without an IT staff to actually self-maintain. Rack mounts are wider than they are tall. They're great for medium to larger end users that need a lot of servers and don't want to take up a lot of desktop or floor space. So you can buy a rack and stack them all in the rack. Blades are for customers who need so many servers that the less rack space they can take up and the easier it is to consolidate things like power, cabling, cooling, the better it is, the easier it is. They're for customers who expect regular growth and want to simplify the infrastructure necessary to support that growth. Blades can also be favored by customers looking to deploy consistent workloads on an increasing basis, such as virtual desktops for students or office workers, testing and development applications, etc. Just to demonstrate the rack density advantage offered by Synergy blades compared to traditional rack mount servers, you could fit 42 1U high HPE ProLiant DL360s in a standard 42U rack. That same rack, you could fit 4 10U Synergy frames, each holding 12 servers, for a total of 48 servers in 40U of space, plus have room left over for 2 more DL360s. So the total there is 50 servers in 42U of space when using Synergy, which increases your server density by 19%. In addition, for full power redundancy of 40U of 40 DL360s, I would need 80 power supplies, 2 power supplies per server. For full power redundancy in 40U of 48 Synergy compute nodes, I only need 24 power supplies, 6 power supplies per chassis, each containing 12 servers. That's 70% fewer power supplies for 20% more servers. So here we have a picture of the Synergy 12,000 frame, which is the rack mount chassis that houses all the Synergy components. It's 10U in height, and it has 6 slots for compute nodes across the top and another 6 slots across the bottom. Compute nodes are the names for servers in the Synergy world. The optional storage node, which is number 2 in this picture, is double wide, and it takes up 2 adjacent slots. Compute nodes, or servers, come in 2 different versions. There's a half-height version, which is pointed to by number 3 in this picture, and there's full-height versions, as noted by number 4 in this picture. The full-height compute nodes provide double the CPU sockets and double the drive bays for each, compared with the half-height versions, which typically have 2 each. There are 2 management appliance slots, indicated by number 5 on the far left, for Composer 2 management modules, which we'll talk about the Composer 2 management modules in just a little bit. Finally, in the lower right, there's what we have, or what we call the Synergy Console Connect. That's designated by number 6. That allows you to connect a keyboard, monitor, and a mouse, or a notebook via an Ethernet port directly to the frame. That allows you to essentially have a direct login to any of the 12 servers within that chassis. On the back of the frame, we have 3 primary fabric modules which are connected to the first port of all server NICs within the frame. And that provides connectivity to our external network. There are 3 redundant counterparts to that, which are all connected to the second NIC port on every NIC in the frame. Redundant frame link modules for management on the left side, which we will talk about the redundant frame modules in a little bit as well. And those also give you, just like the solution on the front, there's also a way to attach a keyboard, monitor, and mouse to the back through those redundant frame link modules as well, if you need to do some local maintenance while you're in your data center. There are 10 redundant system fans in 2 rows of 5, and a total of 6 power supplies. Power supplies are all either 200 to 240 high voltage AC or negative 48 volts DC for telecom environments. There are no low voltage options for the Synergy. And those are located in 2 sets of 3 as shown here. For overall management of the entire Synergy solution, there's 2 important components. On the left, we have the Synergy Composer, the Synergy Composer 2. It's essentially a server appliance, installs in the front left management appliance bays of the 12,000 frame. Each frame has 2 sockets for these appliance modules, but you only need 2 Synergy Composer 2 modules for up to 21 frames. And those 2 modules are redundant. So the only reason you would really have 2 of them installed in one Synergy frame is if you were only running a single Synergy frame. I can have up to 21 frames, which is more than 5 full racks of servers, and only need to have 2 of those Composer 2 modules. The Synergy Composer 2 has HPE OneView built into it for the entire Synergy solution. So you'll never need to buy any licensing for OneView or ILO Advanced Pack or anything like that with the Synergy servers. The Composer 2 modules handle the configuration, updates for the firmware, the storage, and all the network configuration as well is done through that Synergy Composer 2 module. On the right side, we have the FrameLink modules. They get installed in pairs in the back left of the 12,000 frame, and they're intended to tie the frames together into a single management ring. The cabling diagram there shows 3 frames and how they're connected together. There are 2 different FrameLink modules available. You can either get a 2-port that has 10 gig copper connections on it, or there's a 4-port, which has 10 gig SFP connections on it. The compute nodes themselves, as I mentioned before, these are the servers of the Synergy world. The standard 2U server, or I'm sorry, 2 CPU server is a Synergy 480 compute node, which is on the left here. Has 24 DIMM slots, 2 small form factor drive bays. On the new models, the Gen 10 Plus and the Gen 11, you can actually configure up to 4 hard drives in there. The 4 CPU server on the right is full height, and it's the Synergy 660. Has 48 DIMM slots and 4 small form factor hard drive bays. If you're familiar with the Reliant DL series servers, simply add 100 to the number of a DL series server to find the Synergy equivalent. So a DL 380 is essentially equivalent to a Synergy 480. The DL 560 is essentially equivalent to the Synergy 660. For applications where high performance is critical, such as databases, streaming, virtual workstations, some VDI or artificial intelligence, HPE offers the ability to add graphics processor units to some of the Synergy solutions. This example is for the Synergy Generation 10 compute nodes. HPE, to offer flexibility, gives you 2 different ways of adding PCI-based GPUs to the server. One of them allows you to use up to 2 dual-wide X16 PCIe GPUs of up to 300 watts each. They also offer a expansion module that supports up to 4 X8 GPUs of up to 150 watts each. So you can either get a solution that will support up to 2 kind of higher end GPUs or up to 4 of the lower end entry level GPUs. And this is a pretty wordy slide, which I don't know if I mentioned it before or not. Part of my intent was for this presentation to serve as a reference or a guide for Synergy as well for you guys in the future when I send it out. So there are a couple slides that are quite wordy. This is one of them. But I wanted to put out the part numbers and the descriptions for the GPU options, as well as list the compatible GPUs for each of those cards there. For the Gen 10 Plus, speaking of wordy slides, HP offers 4 different ways of adding GPUs. Each one of them allows use of NVIDIA or Quattro GPU options. First of all, HP has 3 separate single slot expansion solutions. And these single slot expansion solutions go directly into one of the 12 server bays on the Synergy frame, essentially adjacent to the server you want to add these GPUs to. First, they offer a 2, 4, or 8 GPU capable card, depending on the power requirements of the GPU. And you can see listed there, the 2 slot will support 2 cards of up to 300 watts, the 4 slots, 4 cards of up to 150 watts, and the 8 slot, 8 cards of up to 75 watts. As a 4th option, HPE offers a PCIe GPU enablement kit, which would replace the front 2 drive bays on a Synergy 480 compute node and provide room for an NVIDIA T4 right where the front 2 drive bays would be on a Synergy 480 server. Currently, the Gen 11 has been announced, but there are no GPU options for the Gen 11 at this point. As far as storage expansion, beyond the internal drive bays on the compute nodes, to be honest, a lot of people attach Synergy to an external SAN or to an external NAS, but there is another option. The Synergy D3940 composable storage node offers disaggregated storage with capacity for a wide range of workloads. It supports up to 40 small form factor drives per unit with support for flash, SSD, and hard drive storage, both SAS and SATA. The D3940 is an excellent alternative to a SAN when you need to either add a substantial amount of direct attached storage to individual compute nodes, such as if you're doing like software-defined storage or testing and development applications, or if you need to add a ton of storage to a single node, such as when creating a backup target or hosting a large database. Each storage module holds up to 40 drives, and 5 storage modules, or 200 drives, can be added per frame for up to 3 petabytes of storage capacity. That's figuring 40 15.3 terabyte drives in each of 5 D3940s. Storage can be configured as direct attached. It's provisionable between all compute nodes in the frame, and it can be presented as block, file, or object storage, enabling a wide variety of workloads. The Fabric Interconnect modules, which get installed on the back of the 12,000 frame, consolidate all the networking ports on the Synergy frame and are available in both composable and traditional Fabric offerings. Composable Fabric is HPE's Virtual Connect, their network virtualization technology adapted to Synergy. All the Virtual Connect innovations, like the ability to pre-configure network and SAN connections without having servers installed in the chassis, the ability to provision individual physical ports into multiple virtual NICs, all that is implemented through Synergy's Composable Fabric. And it's all managed by one view through that Composer 2 management module in the front of the chassis. The Virtual Connect modules offer a simple converged interconnect, interconnect module that's both Ethernet and Fiber Channel over Ethernet capable. And there are optional Fiber Channel licenses if you want to connect directly to external Fiber Channel SANs. If you prefer separate Ethernet and Fiber Channel traffic, HP does offer a separate 32 gig Fiber Channel Virtual Connect module and separate Fiber Channel mezzanine cards to install into the Synergy compute nodes. On their traditional fabric side, HPE offers a Mellanox 25/50 gig Ethernet switch, a Brocade 32 gig fiber channel switch, both of which could get installed inside the chassis itself, and a straight pass-through module with an individual 10 gig port for each NIC inside the chassis. Here's a close-up of the actual hardware behind the Virtual Connect solution. The Virtual Connect master modules shown on top here have 6 100 gig QSFP28 ports for uplinks, 2 more for stacking, and 12 internal downlink connections to the NICs on the dozen compute nodes within the frame. In addition, each Virtual Connect has 4 300 gigabit internal Interconnect Link ports, which allow them to connect to the satellite modules shown on the bottom, which are essentially extensions for the Virtual Connect modules and can be located in frames up to 15 meters away. Each satellite module has 2 interconnect ports. Each port cabled back to the Virtual Connect master provides 25 gigabit of network bandwidth for each compute node NIC port in the frame. If I attach 2 cables, that allows me to do 50 gigabit NIC ports. By attaching only a single cable per satellite, you can support up to a total of 5 frames, 1 with a master Virtual Connect, and then 4 satellite interconnects. With 2 cables per satellite, you can support up to 3 total frames, 1 master, and then 2 satellites in chassis 2 and 3. The simplified cabling allows 60 compute nodes, each with dual 25 gigabit NICs, so a total of 120 total NIC ports, to be redundantly connected with only 10 cables. 8 between the satellite interconnect modules, 2 for stacking between the masters. Purchase of a single optional add-on license per Virtual Connect also enables fiber channel traffic to flow through the uplink ports on the Virtual Connect in addition to just Ethernet. So it allows you to have all your shared storage and network connections configured through the same Virtual Connect network. The 100 gig QSFP28 ports can be broken down via splitter cables either into 4 25 gig Ethernet ports or 4 32 gig fiber channel ports with rate limiting. Here's a couple examples of a HPE Synergy Composable Fabric cabling layout. On the left, we have a typical 42U rack with 4 frames, 4 10U frames, and a redundant pair of master Virtual Connects and a corresponding satellite in each of the other 3 frames. Using the 100 gig F32 Virtual Connects, we would have a single cable to each satellite, and each NIC port in each chassis on each server could run it up to 25 gigabit. On the right is a 3-frame config with a redundant pair of Virtual Connects, connecting 2 cables to each satellite in the upper and the other 2 frames would allow each NIC port to run it up to 50 gigabit per second. Note that in both of these configs, we have 2 master Virtual Connect modules in different frames to provide redundant connections back to each compute node NIC. So at this point, I've talked a lot about the components and the features of Synergy. Now I want to talk about some of the concepts that kind of drove the Synergy design. And to do that, I'm going to make you suffer through 2 or 3 marketing slides. And I'm not usually a fan of marketing slides, but in learning about Synergy, I came across 2 definitions that I really liked and that I think can help frame the conversation around Synergy that you might have with your customers. This quote from Meg Whitman is the first one: the idea economy. We're now living in an idea economy where success is defined by the ability to turn ideas into value faster than your competition. Here's the second one. This definition complements the idea economy Meg was talking about by proposing a means of reducing the time between I have a need and the deployment of a solution that satisfies that need. Composable infrastructure is a way to obtain technology objectives that are difficult or impossible via traditional means. the ability to scale and flex near instantly at any time, on any platform, for any workload at the right service level. So what does that mean in relation to Synergy? Well, Synergy isn't just a box of rack mount servers. In addition to aggregating your power, your cabling, and your cooling, Synergy aggregates your data center resources, allowing you to provision compute, storage, and network as needed, and then release those resources back into the overall Synergy pool when they're no longer needed. With composable compute, fabric, and storage, all managed through one view on the Synergy Composer 2 module, you can create servers to match your application needs, release them back into the pool when done, and reprovision those resources as needed for future projects. With Virtual Connect in one view, you can even pre-configure your network and storage attachments for each compute node before the servers are physically installed in the slots, making deployments, upgrades, and even replacements very simple. All of this functionality reduces the time between I need a server and your server is ready. Another forward-looking innovation on Synergy is the 12,000 backplane inside the chassis. The Synergy Frame midplane was designed to reduce complexity, size, and weight while improving bandwidth for the next generations of compute and fabric needs. The midplane contains no cables, no interposers except for the ones connecting to the fans, and no separate power bus plate, but still provides full redundancy for power, cooling, fabrics, and management. It also provides better cooling and power capacity to meet requirements for future hardware, such as more demanding CPUs, memory, and GPUs. The signal integrity of the midplane can pass data up to 28 gigabits per lane, giving you more than 16 terabits of bandwidth across the entire midplane. It also has support for future photonics upgrades, increasing the bandwidth capacity by up to 100 times the electrical capacity. Now that we reviewed Synergy and its components and where it kind of fits position-wise, I want to spend a few minutes just talking about the differences between HPE's BTO and CTO programs. So the two ways of purchasing servers from HPE. BTO systems, which BTO stands for Build to Order, are pre-assembled systems built according to the various systems listed in HPE's product bulletin and the quick specs. These products are usually stocked for quick turnaround, but any additional options are shipped separately. So some assembly may be required at the end user location when the products ship. CTO systems, or configured to order, are highly customizable and assembled in HPE's factory with all the requested options pre-installed in the system before it ships. As a result, CTO orders tend to take a little bit longer than BTO orders to fulfill. Most ProLiant servers are available via BTO or CTO, but some of the specialized systems, including like Apollo 6500, Superdomes, and Synergy, are only available through CTO as they're niche products intended to be customized. Synergy solutions go through CTO for initial deployments, but later upgrades, should a customer want to add memory, drives, etc. down the road, those can all be purchased via BTO or CTO separately at a later date. And then finally, just to wrap up, I do have a few slides here for reference on how to best engage Ingram Micro's pre-sales technical resources for assistance on HPE products. Our solution design and services team is available via phone, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and has a less than 3-minute average wait time. On the right side of the slide, I have the info for directly reaching our HPE pre-sales configuration team, who can assist with both BTO and CTO product builds. We also offer email support specifically for CTO during the same time frame. Email support is great when you know exactly what you want and don't have to trade emails answering questions. It also has a longer turnaround time. So if you need something quick, calling into the SDNS team is going to be your best bet. John Bussart handles everything HP related in our Business Transformation Center, or BTC, which is our proof of concept lab, demonstration and training center in Williamsville, New York. John frequently has resellers and their end users visit the BTC for proof of concept consultations and technology demos. Thanks to COVID and the national travel restrictions of the past few years, John has the ability to deliver many of his HP demos virtually as well. John also maintains a YouTube channel with HPE demos, unboxing videos, and installation videos. So that brings me to the end of today's presentation. I hope the content was useful and makes it a little bit easier for you to talk about, position, and recommend HPE Synergy in any discussions you have with your customers. Thank you much for attending. I am going to stop the recording now and open it up. If anybody has any questions, feel free to take yourself off of mute or drop them into the chat. I see one question that says, is the chat disabled? I'm going to say no because I see it in the chat, but I could be wrong. No, I'm sorry, I see it in Q&A. The chat does not appear to be disabled to me. But worst case, the question answer box is available.